How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good. It's great to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So anyone that's watching, if you guys have any questions, we can definitely ask Chris. He's open to questions today. So what you guys know is that traditionally I ask four questions. So I'm going to ask those same questions to Chris, and we will have any others that you may have. I have some questions myself that we can go over as well. All right. So Chris, what does Hellenic polytheism mean to you?
Loving the gods and each other, and being the best version of yourself.
There you
Getting up
go.
every day with a love for life and a heart grateful to the gods.
Mm. So, how long have you been pagan before being a Hellenic polytheist? How long would you say did your pagan journey begin?
I've been a Hellenic Polytheist for 14 years.
Mm.
Um, but before that, I was just kind of Wiccan, general pagan. Even there was even a time when I was a Christian witch. Um, so I'd say altogether about 15 years. But for 99% of that, I've been Hellenic.
Mm. So, how did you discover Hellenic polytheism?
Well, I've been through many interesting roads in my life. I think the first intro I had was in my ninth grade English class when we studied the Odyssey, and we watched the movie The Odyssey with Armand Assante in it, which is still one of my favorite movies. You know, for a B movie, it's a spectacular production. Um, and so that was my first intro into ancient Greek spirituality. The movie is not um, anywhere near a complete overview of Hellenic religion. It's one story, one time period told through the perspective of one person or a group of people, if you think Homer was a group of poets, like some people do. But it was a very narrow view of the religion, but that's really what got me started. I was just fascinated by it. And from that point, I just kind of, took additional steps. I just grew and grew and grew until eventually I just came to be kind of spiritually in touch with ancient Greece. And it just went from there. And my official conversion was in the summer of 2009, shortly after I met my wife. She had been Wiccan for 10 years, I think, nine,
Mm.
10 years, and we had a spiritual experience together, and we've been Hellenists ever since. I
Mm.
haven't always been the same kind of Hellenist. I kind of started out as a kind of like a Greek neo-pagan, but over the years I've become traditional and reconstructionist.
Gotcha. And how has it changed your life, would you say?
The way it's changed my life is it's allowed me to look at the world in the vast array that it is. You know, ancient Greek spirituality. There's so many ways to practice it. There's so many ways to be Hellenic, traditionally even. Gods, spirits, heroes, deified mortals, ancestors. There's just so many facets, not only to Hellenism but to life itself. And so I think that one way it's changed my life is that it's allowed me to look at the world in more than just a black and white view of things.
Mm.
Um, Not evil, um, not bad, not 100% this way or 100% that way, but just objectively looking at the world.
Right. Right. So, how has your view on the gods evolved? How do you see the gods now compared to how you saw them when you first started? Would you say?
I don't think my view on the gods has really changed.
Mm.
Um, my theological beliefs, I don't think they really changed that much over the years. My practice has just become more traditional to become Reconstructionist because I needed structure in my life. I actually tried being eclectic for a while, a long time ago, but I just couldn't do anything like that, and I couldn't just do everything on a whim because me myself, I needed structure in my life, and religion is a big part of my life, so I needed structure in that too. And Reconstructionism provided me with that structure, and I just came to believe that I think the ancient Greeks knew best how to connect with their gods. And so
Mm.
I'd say that the way I approach the gods has definitely changed, but I think my theological beliefs have pretty much stayed the same.
Is there a particular god or goddess that drew you in, that made you interested, that really caught your attention when you first began this spiritual path?
Um, I'd say most definitely Aphrodite and Apollo. I just
Mm,
felt such a connection to them.
mm,
I mean, I love sunlight. I love being in the sun. I love music. I love poetry. I love the arts. I like hunting.
mhm,
Um, so I mean that really drew me to Apollo. I consider myself to be a virtuous person. I consider myself to be a moral person. His light is just kind of, to me, his light means more than just sunlight. It's also the light of goodness. And I've just always had a desire things that I don't think are right. I don't like to feel polluted in any way. Uh, Even if I'm the only one who knows about it, I still feel bad about it if I'm not doing the right thing. And so just the light of truth basically is what drew me to Apollo. And Aphrodite, I've always been a sexologist. I've always loved human sexuality. And I look at it a lot differently than most people do. And I think that that sexual connection is what drew me to Aphrodite too.
mm. Another part that I know you're heavy on, that's a real big part of your spirituality is the worship of heroes, and in particular Theseus. I know you really love Theseus. So how did Theseus become part of your life?
He was just a hero, the hero I connected with in my practice. I actually pray to all the heroes.
Mm,
I'm not a henotheist in that regard. I don't have just one hero that I pray to. I pray to all of them.
mhm,
But I don't know, Theseus just really connected with me because I saw um, a lot of him in me.
mhm,
You know, just kind of the child who was born disadvantaged, not really knowing where to go in life, but always having the drive and the passion to make something of himself and not way. And that's kind of how my life has been. I mean, I've definitely had my trials. I haven't fought a minotaur, but metaphorically, I think I've been through a lot of challenges that could be compared to that kind of danger and that kind of fear. I think
right.
we all fight our own minotaur in life, but
Exactly.
he just connected with me because I kind of thought about myself a lot when I looked at him.
Mhm. So how do you incorporate the honoring? I don't really do hero veneration that much. So how, for someone that wants to, what would you say to help? How do you incorporate that into your spiritual practice? Would you say that on a daily basis? How could we do that?
I just include them in my daily rites. I start with the gods and I go to the heroes. Actually, God, spirit, and hero.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I just include them in my daily prayer and sacrifice with the gods. There's nothing really different about it. Um, I pray to them kind of in the same structure, like their name, their title, their deed, and why they're relevant to me, or what have you. Just kind of going in that order like you would with a god. But there's nothing really special about it. There's no special key to use. I just include them in their proper place with my prayers. That's it.
Gotcha. Awesome. So I know the latest work you've been working on book was about exorcisms, the Hellenic exorcisms. Um, could you tell me a little bit about that? If the reason I ask is because I know somebody that has been dealing with spirits and wanted to know what gods or goddesses or spirits they could pray to dealing with exorcism on your house and home.
Well, the book is about all of the. I kind of learned by trial and error.
Mm,
As from childhood, no one had to tell me that there were spirits around. I knew.
right.
And if you read that book, I tell you that about a lot about my life in terms of that. But the book consists of all of the successful rituals and um, techniques, I guess you could say, that I have learned and executed successfully over the years. Um, in terms of cleansing your house, cleansing yourself, cleansing other people. Um, they're very simple. Anyone can do it. and I've had amazing results. I've always been involved in. I've kind of always been. I don't say an exorcist because that's so Christian.
Right.
Um, and like I say in my book, nothing is 100% evil. You just may be encountering something negative for whatever reason, but that negative thing may not necessarily be evil. It just may be negative because that's how you're encountering it right now. So I don't want to say exorcist,
Right.
but I suppose I'll say cleanser. I've always been, cleanser. I've always been a banisher. It's always been something I've been able to do successfully. I haven't done a lot of it recently, um, but that's kind of been part of my life, and so that's what the book deals with. And I've never failed in any of it. And like I say in the book, of course, the credit goes to the gods and heroes, not me. But I've never failed in any of it, and that's what the book's about. And I think it can help anyone who's facing any kind of spiritual trouble in that regard.
Mm. Yeah, so definitely go check that book out. I'm gonna go get it myself. I'm 100% interested. I definitely want to check it out. So I really love what you've done with your temple in your home, by the way, Chris. So it's actually really come together, and I just want to say, so how long have you had your temple in Illinois?
I have had in Illinois since 2013.
Mm,
I actually founded it in 2010 in High Point, but it's been here since 2013 when I moved up here with my wife. This physical structure here and the sanctuary outside was something that was started and completed from 2019 till now. It's been a long working progress. It's been a lot of money, um, but I'm very proud of it. I worked very hard on it, and mostly all of it was constructed and paid for by me.
right. And it shows the love and dedication you put into it. It's very beautiful. I love the outside sanctuary you've created recently. It looks really amazing.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I would kind of like for the statues to all be the same size, but I'm not gonna be picky about that. I mean, I don't think it really matters.
right, right. I don't think so. It looks really good. Any more plans to add to it, or is it? Do you feel like it's about done?
It's definitely almost done. All I have to do is finish a little more of the foundation, and I got to get a couple more statues to complete the back. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty much done. And then just maintenance from that part, which I don't think it'll be that hard because everything I bought is made for outside, so it shouldn't deteriorate that much.
Awesome. Where do you buy those outside statues, by the way?
Anywhere I can find them. Mostly, I think they came from a dealer in Greece.
Mm,
Um, I think they're on Etsy. One is called Estia Creations, and the other is called Greek Artifact, I think.
mm, gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, because I've always wanted something outside, and I just didn't want to get something that would just erode with the rain and weather. So I was definitely curious about that.
Well, don't buy columns. A lot of people go to craft stores and they'll see these alabaster columns that cost like $10, $20, and they're like, "Hey, I can put those outside. They're great for inside. I have them in here, but you don't want to put them outside. They only last about a year, and then you got to buy new ones. Um, so I mean, you might as well just buy ones that are made for outside and not have to buy any anymore. But I used to do that. I used to get alabaster columns, and like I said, they last about a year, and then I'd have to tear them down and replace them. So I figured I would just buy ones that were made for outside. They're more expensive, but you only have to buy it one time.
That's right. Yeah, it's definitely saves money in the long run. So everyone, so a lot of people know you for this book, not just this book, but my question for you is, what inspired you to get in to be an author and write books such as this one right here?
I've always loved writing. Ever since I was in elementary school, I've been a writer. I used to write little fiction stories all the time. My teachers loved them. Of course, if I had any now, they'd be comical compared to what I write today because they come from the mind of a child. But I've always loved writing. It's kind of like a divine art to me. I
Mm,
mean, you can create something beautiful that will always be there. Unless it's destroyed or something like that. But I think in our time, you worry about that a little bit less than ancient times, because there's so many ways to store your writings and so many ways to protect them. But it's just, I don't know. It might sound strange, but I just think it's fascinating
mm,
that I can write something and create something so beautiful, so spiritual, so relevant to so many people, and
mm.
it's there forever.
It is. You've helped, as you know, a lot of people in our community, and I'm sure they would thank you every day for all the help you've given. How many books have you written so far?
Um, hmm, mm, I think about six. See,
Mm,
there's there's the Exorcism book, then there's the Basic Guide for Practitioners, then there's Light of Olympus, American Odyssey, Lives and Prayers of the Heroes, and I think there's one more, Theseus, the one on Theseus that I wrote. So yeah, I think about six books.
awesome. You got any? You have more in? I don't know. You probably have more in you. Any more coming soon?
I'm actually planning on redoing the Theseus book and submitting it to a traditional publisher.
Oh,
I think I can get that one going that way, which would be a lot better for me and a lot better for it. May become a bestseller, who knows? But I think I can get that one traditionally published, so I'm going to try that. But I'm also working on a new prayer book, um, with all of the epithets of Olympus,
mm,
prayers to all of the Olympian gods in each of their epithets.
awesome.
So that'll be a lot. That'll be
Yeah.
a lot. But I don't think it's ever been done before.
No, I've never seen it. I've never seen it, so that would definitely be interesting. So,
Not even from Orpheus or Homer. No. Mm-mm.
no, no, you're right. No. So, what would you give? What tips would you give to someone that wants to get into publishing? Would you want to be a self? Would you say go the route of self publishing or look into professional?
I would definitely say that if you can do professional, to go that way.
Mm,
Because I mean, don't pay to be published, because that's a scam.
mm,
Um, Real publishers don't charge you anything. They know your stuff's going to sell, and they publish it, and they put their own money and their own time and their own promotion behind it. So if you can go traditional, then most definitely, because those companies have the power to put you out there more than you do.
mm,
But self-publishing is not bad either. I mean, I think that for a small religious community like ours, and someone who is a small-time writer like myself, I think I've done fairly well being a self-published author. So I don't think either one is wrong, but I would definitely say that traditional would probably most likely get you more attention and more money and more exposure.
mm. All right, awesome. So, before I guess that's all the questions I have. So I know you have some websites and Facebook groups that I would like to plug. So where can we find you, Chris, when we're looking for you?
Well, my personal website is caldridge.net.
Hmm.
So C and my last name and then .net. That's my personal website. My temple's website is totgg.org. Temple of the Greek Gods.org is the initials for the temple. Um, and from there, you can go to our Facebook page and our Twitter and all that stuff. I just started our Twitter page. One of my priests who works for me is running it right now. But so it's not really that big yet. But you can find all of our stuff that way and find me that way.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Anything else before we go?
I saw in the chat someone's talking about spiritual cleansing. If they want to message me on my Facebook page, I'll be glad to talk to them about it. They can also message me on the messenger on my website. There's
Got
a
it.
contact form.
Awesome. And what's the name of that, like for a better term, exorcism book? What's the name of that book so we can check it out?
an ancient Greek guide to cleansing, banishment, and exorcism.
Awesome. Awesome. I definitely want to check that out myself. So there you go, guys. And every link mentioned, I will put in the description so you guys can find Chris. And there you go. Awesome. Well, thank you. I really do appreciate it, Chris. Thank you for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. All right, guys. So thank you all for joining me as well. And we will see you next time. So thank you, Chris, and thank you, guys.